Captain's Log Supplemental. Well, I've been unconscious in sickbay for about 72 hours thanks to some random bug we picked up on Trinebula 7. I don't know why they named their planet that. Anyways, there's only two. It doesn't matter. My first officer was supposed to run the ship while I was incapacitated, as per regulations. But unfortunately, he was out of phase in some other dimension pretty much the entire time. We're only bringing him back this afternoon, according to some engineering scheme. After him, of course, Chief Engineer is supposed to take over, but the Chief Engineer got knocked out by an explosion inside of one of the Jeffries tubes that he was working. And then when the security officer was supposed to take over, right as she was getting onto the command deck, her phaser exploded on her side. The ship has been without anyone in charge for the last 72 hours. Somehow we've made it through without any actual casualties, but God knows how that happened. I don't even know where to begin to actually write this report.
Welcome back, everybody, to Captain's Log Supplemental. For those who don't know, we are a Star Trek rewatch podcast. We are cruising along in chronological order, going through every episode, taking a closer look, and chit-chatting about them. As always, I am joined by producer Mariah.
Hi there.
Co-host Rob.
Hello.
And the still alive co-host Stanford.
I'm still alive. All right.
Barely.
Go ahead and get the bullshit out of the way, because I got something to say.
Yeah. As we always say, please rate, subscribe, tell all your friends about the podcast. I don't think we can call ourselves a new podcast anymore. We've been doing this for a while.
Well, we're not at 100 episodes yet, which is the level at which things could actually count as being an old podcast. So
okay,
we are still new.
We're an almost old podcast out of that. But yeah, tell everybody. More listeners, more better. Take it away.
All right. So this might get a little lengthy, but this week's episode was dumb as shit, so I'm not really worried about taking some of its time out. So I don't know how y'all's weekend went, but on Friday I had to go to the hospital.
Whee!
So I'm gonna tell you a tale. So sit right back. So on Thursday night, I wasn't feeling great. I had a fever and a headache, and we had people coming over. Now, I am quadriplegic, which means that there are things about my health that are pretty expected and typical. One of those things is a urinary tract infection, which I tend to get once a year, sometimes twice a year. And fun fact, my bladder is just colonized, so there's always some bacteria in there. Yeah, don't break your neck. It sucks. So I assumed, okay, UTI, I've got a standing script for some antibiotics from my doctor. I'll be fine. I start taking them. Next morning, I take another dose. Not feeling much better, but I had to drive my kid to his cousins for the day because they were hanging out. So I drive Liam to Wesley's house. Then I come back and I need to transfer from my car into my wheelchair. But I don't think I'm going to make it because I feel kind of lightheaded. I realize I need to drink some water. I needed some Tylenol. So I called Rob. And I'm or actually, I guess I asked in Discord. I'm can you bring me a cup of water? Because he lives a few minutes from me. So I'm going to drive over. Can you bring me a cup of water and some acetaminophen?
A cup of warm water because
I had chill.
Shivering.
Yeah, I didn't want cold water. And Chris is this is the lamest drug deal ever. So we get that. I go back to my home. I fall asleep in the car for an hour. Not an hour, half an hour. And then I transfer and I get inside. I'm pretty feverish, but I had just taken the acetaminophen half an hour ago. So I'm all right, well, let's take my temperature, see what it is. And it's 103.7.
That's not good.
I didn't know it was at 103.
Yeah. That's the highest I've ever seen on a thermometer that was not attached to a child, because children get real fucking hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
a kid before the a kid could go up to 106, but adults 104 is the limit.
Yeah. So I'm oh shit, that's not good. Now, I've been trained to first aid a bunch of times, so I know the protocol. I drank some water, like a fair amount of water right then and there, because I'm maybe I'm just dehydrated. That's possible. And then I'm like, I need to wait half an hour and take my temperature again and see if it's changed. Because that's how it works. So I'm like, okay, well, if I have to go to the hospital, I better shave. Because I had this big ass beard, and if I need to strap anything to my face, that would be fucking problematic. So I go shave. By the time I get back to the bedroom to shave, I'm like panting, like short of breath panting. And I'm like, that's not good. So I shave, and like that takes some time and stuff. By the time I get back out to the kitchen, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Take my temperature again, same fucking number. And I'm like, fuck. So I call 911. Okay. Now, this might be a privileged assumption on my part, but I feel like the 911 operator could have been a little less dickish to me.
Why?
I call this guy up, and he immediately like where's the emergency? He says in such a tone that I'm like, I'm already bothering this man. And I'm like, I should not give my fucking address. I'm gonna bleep that out. Jesus Christ. But I'm like, North Wales, Pennsylvania. And there's like this brief pause, and he goes, is it actually Lansdale? And I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, yeah, technically it's Lansdale, because like our mailbox is on a different street than our actual house is on, because we live on a corner. Like, I don't have time to go over this with the fucking 911 operator while I'm dying.
Just being pedantic about your address while you're calling about an emergency.
And he's like, what's the issue? And I'm like, well, I had a really high fever. I'm having trouble breathing. I'm quadriplegic. And I'm here by myself. So I need someone to take me to the hospital. I guess I need an ambulance. And he's like, okay, what's your age? And like, I'm not thinking straight. My brain goes, hey, dude, your birthday's next week. I'll be 39 next week. And he goes, so you're 38 then? Fuck, dude. Fuck.
Oh, man, what a dick.
I'm like, is this real life right now? Is this what's happening?
Can I just say that it would have been real ironic if you had been murdered via pedanticism?
I'm not gonna. That's a good point. Yeah,
I enjoyed that joke so much, Rob.
That was perfect. No notes.
Anyways, so finally I get off the call with this guy, and I call Mariah because she's at work. Okay, Mariah's at work, so I call her, and I'm like, and she picks up the phone because she's not my brother-in-law.
I also know the drill. Matthew doesn't call.
I don't call people. I don't like
talking
to people on the phone. So if I call you,
Matthew calls. There's a problem.
There's like, I need you now. Yeah. So I'm like, honey, I need you to stay calm. I am going to the hospital. I've already called 911. I have a very high fever and I'm having trouble breathing. I need you to take care of Liam, because Liam is still gone and I don't know when he's coming home, but my father-in-law was supposed to drop him off at some point. And it's fine. I don't need an exact time because I didn't know what their plan was. But it's like, I just need you to handle him. I will keep you updated. And Mariah's like, fuck yeah. So I get off the phone with her. So then I'm just kind of waiting in the living room. Like, should I throw myself on the floor to make this more exciting for them? I don't know.
Tell the dispatcher it was a real emergency, goddammit.
Yeah. But I'm like, I'm going to the hospital. So I'm like, I get cath kits. Look that up if you don't know what that is. I grab a transfer board. I take like the fire starting kit that I have in my backpack out. Like I take my car keys out. Like I was ready to go to the hospital. I'm fucking prepared. So the first person that just comes into my fucking house is a cop, which is a little uncomfortable, but she was nice enough. Although it would have been like, you could have at least knocked, bitch, but you just opened the door and walked in. But
see, they know you don't lock your door.
Well, they asked me on the 911 calls, like, is the door unlocked? I'm like, yes. I didn't realize that meant like, okay, cool. That means that we get to do whatever the fuck we want to your house. Yeah. Which was like at the point that she just wandered into my house, I'm like, well, if I did have anything illegal, it's all completely null and void now because you just voided any kind of corroborating evidence there. So then the EMTs show up. EMTs, pretty cute, pretty cute. One was named Mariah, and she was complimenting my wife's plants and stuff in the house. The other was named Rick, and he had very nice arms. They show up. There, no fucking complaints about the EMTs. They were perfectly awesome people, and I've had a couple like EMT encounters in my life, believe it or not. And EMTs are they're just good people. Like I've never met a shitty EMT. Although fun fact, the last time I was in like an emergency ambulance was a helicopter. So, that's how long it's been since I've been to the hospital. So they're like, all right, well, we need to get you on a stretcher. I'm like, no problem. I can transfer. And I did like an amazing transfer in front of these like cute EMTs because I was just like, full of that kind of adrenaline.
Penis adrenaline.
Yeah, just like I gotta dazzle these people. Get me into the stretcher. They start taking my vitals. My temperature's already back down, and I'm like, shit, I just wasted everybody's fucking time. But they get me into the ambulance, and they're like taking things, and they hand me my bag, and my phone pings, and it's my lovely wife going, if you didn't want to do that thing next weekend, you could have just said you didn't have to go to the hospital. The first text I get after getting in the ambulance.
Nice.
Love you.
So we start going. There are no lights on, like emergency lights or anything on.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite part.
Oh. And I'm like, we're not turning the lights on. And Rick's like, nah, you don't need it. Nah, you're fine. I'm like, oh man. Like we're waiting in traffic at a stoplight. Okay,
the hospital's get the wee-woos?
Didn't even get wee-woos. That's how uninspiring my emergency was.
And
man. Like genuinely, if it weren't for the wheelchair, I probably could have driven myself to the hospital, right? Like that's really the reason I had to call the ambulance is because I'm quadriplegic and by myself. Get to the hospital, tell them what's going on. This doctor that looks exactly like Brian David Gilbert comes in. He says to me, "My name is Dr. Ham, like the food." There are genuinely several seconds where I was like, am I being YouTube pranked right now? Like, is this actually Brian David Gilbert fucking with me? Did I show y'all a picture of this guy?
I don't think so.
No? What? Did you take a picture of your doctor?
No, I found him online later because doctors are easy to track down.
Right, yeah, they have stuff on websites and stuff.
Yeah, he's a resident too, so he's like young. Like y'all know who Brian David Gilbert is, right?
I mean, I don't, but I just looked him up so I can compare.
So that is who walks into my fucking room and says he is Dr. Ham, like the food.
Oh, you did send that picture, actually. Yeah, that does.
Yeah,
that does look exactly like him.
Exactly like him, only more so in person. So he's like, okay, so you think it's a UTI? Your fever's down now, but like we're gonna see what's going on. And I'm like, okay, great. We're gonna do is like they take urine from me. They gave me the COVID nose swab, which also tests for flu at the hospital. Negative on those. My urine was fine. It's like generally shitty because I'm quadriplegic, but like it wasn't so infected that they're like this. So they're like, we're gonna do a chest X-ray. They do a chest X-ray, and Dr. Gilbert here comes back. Dr. Ham comes back in and is like, "Yeah, you have pneumonia." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" And he's like, "Yeah, weird. You don't have a cough or anything, right?" I'm like, "No, I haven't coughed at all." He's like, "Yeah, well, you have pneumonia." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Yeah, so we're going to put you on different antibiotics and send you home. You're good to go." All right. Thanks, doc. So yeah.
Cool.
Apparently I have fucking pneumonia.
So what? Okay, so as you kind of mentioned before, pneumonia is more of a symptom than an actual thing itself. What caused it for you?
So in this case, it is a bacterial infection in my lungs.
Pneumonia is an infection in the lungs.
Yes. Pneumonia can be caused by a viral infection. It can be caused by a fungal infection or a bacterial infection. It can often be a side infection from a larger systemic infection. Like if you have a cold, you could end up with pneumonia, depending on where the virus ends up, things like that.
Because one of the big problems with and why a lot of people get pneumonia, usually elderly and immunocompromised, is if they're not moving around a whole lot. So you might be sick with something else. So you're in bed, you're lying flat, you're not up and moving, you're not clearing the fluid out of your lungs.
Right.
And so that will cause usually a bacterial infection.
Apparently another big cause of pneumonia is like having some kind of mouth infection, like a bad tooth or something. And then you'll breathe that in while you're sleeping or whatever. And like that'll cause it. So like not going to the dentist regularly can cause pneumonia effectively, you know?
Which you've been to the dentist.
I have been to the dentist. Thank God. That would have been fucking awkward. So yesterday, so this was all on Friday. Yesterday was Saturday. Yesterday, I felt like ass all day. I actually felt kind of like I had pneumonia. I could barely breathe. I kind of had a little bit of a cough, although still not like pneumonia cough. I don't know. So I think what happened is my first symptom was like the fever, and I managed to, I don't know, be shitty enough to go to the hospital before it got bad enough that I actually had pneumonia symptoms.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't breathe.
I mean, I could breathe, just not well.
He was short of breath. Yes, that's kind of a big deal.
So yeah, but today I have not had a fever all day today, which is good. I've not had to take any fever reducers.
And he's being pedantic again. So
I am a little more upbeat, and breathing deep only hurts a little bit. So I am good to go for the most part, although I'm going to probably try to take it easy this week. Yeah, so that was my exciting fucking weekend.
Fun stuff.
This was all right after Halloween, too.
All right. Well, with that fun story out of the way, Star Trek. Yay.
Ugh.
All right. Is it worse than pneumonia? Let's start there.
Boy, this episode might have been. I'm not going to lie.
Aw, it wasn't that bad.
Ooh.
No, it wasn't.
I know we're into the fourth season of this show now, and you're just
no, I
disappointed by default. So.
I have very specific complaints about this episode.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll get there. So this week's episode was fourth episode of season 4 called Borderland, which is part 1 of a 3-part cluster of episodes.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until I was like halfway through it, and I glanced down at like the menu and saw that like the next titles of the episodes also involved this stuff, and I was like, oh shit, this is like a series of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you guys watch this before?
Rob, I have watched so many things, and I try to remember the good ones, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Agreed. So, our cold open is on a Klingon ship. Some Klingons, including our old friend J.G. Hertzler, who is playing the second Klingon in the series that he has so far. He's the captain of the ship. Sorry, totally lost my train of thought. They find some shuttle kind of floating around in space, and they bring it on board. It seems like there's 2 humans on board the shuttle who proceed to just beat the living shit out of the Klingons.
And
yeah.
I was instantaneous, like, oh, okay, we gotta do some con shit now. Of course we do. Fuck.
See, I was thinking, like, is it the crazy, like, injectables that
right
Mbenga and Chapel use in Strange New Worlds?
Yeah, we're not quite to that level of medicine yet, I guess. Because so they make their way up to the bridge and start blasting, and by Klingons. After that, we cut to a prison cell where we see, of course, old Brett Spiner, who is guest starring here as Dr. Eric Sung. Probably like the 7th Sung he's played in the series.
I have a question. Does Starfleet run this prison? Because the guard was definitely wearing a Starfleet uniform, and like this guy, as far as I can tell, is just like he's been guilty of like some real civilian crimes. He wasn't part of Starfleet.
Loins, Chris.
Well, no, not civilian crimes. He stole embryos from a top secret military facility, or guarded by a military facility. Like it's
but was he in the military?
He worked at the place that was holding the embryos. Like, that's how he stole them. That's what they said in this episode.
He worked for Starfleet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize he was a member of Starfleet. Okay.
Yep. So old Brett Spiner, he's in as Dr. Eric Soong. Archer has come to see him in his cell. He's obviously to talk about the augmented individuals who took over the Klingon ship.
There is, by the way, nothing that shows you the inability of Scott Bakula to act than putting him across from Brent Spiner.
Yeah. Brett, I was to say that was definitely a note I had. I'm like, wow, Brett Spiner being in this really, really shows you the difference in acting ability between this show and others. So
it's kind of wild.
Yeah. We get a quick philosophical debate, of course, because we have to establish of course, the Dr. Soong is into eugenics and dubious morality.
No. He didn't say eugenics. He said genetic engineering.
Yeah, well, sure.
Look, he's trying to cure diseases and make people see better and punch Klingons and stuff.
Really
but
hard.
He also had the best burn on Archer of the entire show.
In this scene, what did he say? I don't have any notes on that.
He asked him what's he doing here, and he's like, "They naming the prison after you?"
Oh yeah,
that was pretty funny.
We confirmed that the people who took over the Klingon ship were indeed augments created by Soong. He had stolen the embryos and raised them on a planet somewhere, and they, I guess, decided to break out now. We cut to Enterprise. I guess Archer has interrupted shore leave at this point because T'Pol has a lovely flower print shirt on.
I don't know why no one had time to get into uniform for this very official Starfleet meeting. They're all in their vacation clothes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We got some quick backstory on the creation of the augments here. Fine exposition. Soong thinks he can get the augments to surrender, which I'm sure he definitely believes and is totally not going to double cross everybody.
Totally.
They are in the borderland between the Klingon and the Orion Syndicate.
I find it slightly, I don't know. I find it something lazy, maybe a little strong of a word, but like labeling, it's like it's got to be the Expanse or the Borderland. It's like, can we just go somewhere? It's okay. It's okay. We understand that these people are it doesn't have to be this
could just be the Klingon Orion border.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this like this very specific capitalized entitled lawless sector. It's it's just a place. Yeah.
Yeah, so, it's crazy. Star Trek would never call something the neutral zone.
Right, but it's funny too because when they described what it was, I'm like, were they just trying not to call something the neutral zone?
Right, yeah. So anyway, they have to go capture the augments to avoid war with the Klingons because their Klingons are unhappy about the humans taking their ship. I mean, sure. We cut back to the Klingon ship. One of the original boarding fellows gets pimp slapped by the leader.
Yeah, he does. Just straight up backhanded.
Because the leader did not sanction the takeover of the ship. So that was fun. Back in the dry dock, Soong is having fun with Reed, who he rips on.
That's so good.
Oh yeah, okay. Brett Spiner making fun of Reed was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's like, you're not getting enough credit, it seems. I'm like,
Yeah, you're not getting your fair share of publicity.
Mm-hmm, yeah. He Soong's request to set up in sickbay because he seems he's aware of Dr. Phlox and seems to have a professional respect for him. We get a new captain's chair here,
which is very elaborate
on the bridge. Which trivia note here?
Fun facts with Chris.
The chair is actually apparently from a deleted scene in Nemesis. He makes a joke about a button on the chair.
Yes.
That button on the chair actually normally would activate a seatbelt on the chair that would strap in or something like that. You can actually see the seatbelt ports in the shoulders of that chair. There's these spaces. So yeah, thought that was interesting.
Did you notice that T'Pol has some pips in this episode? Or in this
she's actually she has her own commission.
She belongs to Starfleet, so that gives me another question.
And yet,
why doesn't she get a fucking uniform?
Still no uniform.
That is her uniform.
Yeah, cat suit is the uniform apparently.
Jesus Christ. This fucking show, man.
We get a quick, well, here we are again scene where they're like launching from their now finally repaired ship.
I was like, great speech, Archer. It was as crappy as it was short and uncomfortable.
In Archer's quarters, T'Pol goes over the rising tensions with the Klingons. T'Pol is apparently actually in Starfleet now, as we just mentioned. Archer gives her a compass as a gift to keep her pointed in the right direction.
Very thoughtful.
Okay. Yeah.
I like this.
It was nice. In sickbay, Soong and Phlox are looking at data they collected on the Augments. Calls them his children. Phlox lectures Soong on his past mistakes, which I thought was a good one-liner here. Says he can. Soong says, "Why don't you think I've learned from my past mistakes?" And Phlox is like, "I can read."
Spiner, by the way, like up to this point and like continuing through the rest of the episode, does a great job of playing like the douchebag tech bro.
Yeah, and I say this later. I'm like I appreciate that Spiner is a fine actor, at least in this role. He's doing a great job, but I find the Dr. Soong shtick obnoxious. Like I get tired of it very quickly. And that's just like a character thing. It's nothing to do with Spiner himself. Like it's just like this that like nasally shtick just fucking kills me every time. Like someone
impish behavior. Yeah, I get it. The Enterprise is attacked in warp by 2 Orion ships, forcing them to drop out of warp. Yep. Which, by the way, this is apparently the first live action appearance of Orions in a Star Trek series since like the 1969 of in TOS, and then subsequently in 74 in the animated series. But yeah, like it seems crazy to me because like the Orions, like I feel like get a lot more. I don't want to say like publicity in Star Trek, but like
they get mentioned a lot.
Yeah, they get mentioned a lot for how infrequently they actually appeared in the show.
Especially when you like the stereotype of Kirk is like he's banging a green chick. It's like that's an Orion. Like I don't know that there was ever another green lady that he had sex with, right?
Right. So they get attacked by these ships. They're forced to drop out of warp. Soon after, the Orions beam, I think what they said, 9 crew members off the ship.
And man, there's like shit exploding, and I'm like, oh man, they just got this ship fixed.
It was fun. I liked the graphic of beaming the dude sliding down the stairs.
That was funny.
That was cool.
But that must be a very weird landing in the transport bay or whatever on the Orion ship. Just falling on his ass. Archer goes to question Soong about how to get his missing crew back from the Orions, because he was obviously in this area for a while. Soong says that they have likely been taken to a processing facility where they will be sold as slaves. Of course, because, it's Orions. We cut to the Augments, where Persis, who is the female here, which, another trivia note.
Fun facts with Chris.
Persis is actually named after the late Persis Kambata, who is the actress who played Lieutenant Ilia in the motion picture, which I thought was interesting.
Oh. I have a question.
Yep.
How come the super, like, augmented, hyper-intelligent, like, crazy, advanced human soldiers all have to dress in, like, shitty, ripped-up rags in every single incarnation of them?
So, I agree, but I think this was actually supposed to be, like, referencing, like, their original, like, the Augments, how they appeared in, like, the original series, I guess.
Yeah. It was dumb there, too. Like, I don't disagree that it looks cool in that, like, Mad Maxy kind of way, but, like, why? Why are they dressed like this?
Because when you get super smart, you get super edgy.
Yeah. Plus, they had to have like multiple boob windows on.
There's so many boob windows. We saw. It's like I'm not sure if I want like cleavage or side boob or under boob. So she just clicked all of the above button.
Persis and Malik say Malik is the one shorter guy who got pimp slapped by the leader Rakim. Persis and Malik say Rakim is taking them to a planet where they can live in peace, although Malik does not seem to be on board with that. He wants to fuck shit up, apparently. Then we get some very weird, forceful kissing.
Aggressive kissing. And I'm not even sure it's like, non-consensual.
Right.
It's just violent. Like it's
just
very, very
just like
physical.
Like you definitely bumped teeth. Like
ow. Luckily they're like super augmented teeth, so they probably just bounced right off. But like,
there you go. Yeah.
Have you ever
reference?
Like, have you ever like clicked teeth while kissing? It hurts. Like it's not a good feeling.
It's not. No, it's not. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize we were keeping you up.
Yeah, no, apparently. So down on a planet with the Orions, T'Pol is tagged for slavery. We get another WWE guest appearance here, which trivia note.
Oh, I fun facts with Chris.
Were you going to say something?
The way this guy got screen time, I'm like, this is a guy. This is somebody.
Yes, that is the wrestler Big Show is his name. But he's, what is his, it's in his actual name here. Paul Wright is his actual name, but Big Show, he's in the WWE, he's Big Show. This is actually the third WWE wrestler to guest star on Star Trek Enterprise, and the third appearance on Star Trek overall. Second on Enterprise, third overall. Because we had The Rock in Voyager. We have him here. Do you know what the third one was?
Yes.
Who was it?
Fuck. Is it? It's not. God damn it! It's fuck. Maybe I'm thinking of something. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of that band member who was like one of the fish people. Never mind. No, I'm thinking of a different thing.
No, it was actually in the very first episode of Star Trek Enterprise. It was Tommy Lister Jr., who I guess went by Tiny. I did not ever know of him, so he was a not well-known one. And
we hadn't started our Fun Facts with Chris segment back then. So.
Also true, yeah. He was Clang in Broken Bow.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. So T'Pol gets thrown into a cage with some random crewman who is freaking the fuck out.
Dude.
My note here is, but I'm too white to be a slave, says the whitest ensign ever.
Yeah.
This guy was overacting to the point where it was just funny. It was so funny.
He was fucking pathetic.
It was, yeah. My night it was, I'm pretty sure this guy's going to die. But he didn't.
That's what I noted too.
T'Pol does try to calm him down, which she seems to succeed a little bit. Back on Enterprise, they successfully get cleared to enter the Orion planet. Soong makes light of Tucker on the way out, and jokes.
This is where I was like, I'm tired of the Dr. Soong shtick. Like,
so he makes a joke where he says the crew could use a sense of humor, which is kind of like an inside Data joke here, because that was like one of the ongoing themes with Data, was trying to find, emotions and sense of humor and things like that. There were multiple episodes about Data telling jokes.
That's a dumb joke to make.
I don't disagree. It was just like one of those, oh, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, get it.
It's just like one of those things where it's like, we got to make sure we parade Brett Spiner near all of the main cast so he can make fun of them.
Which, that actually reminds me, I had another semi-trivia note here.
Is that another semi-fun fact with Chris?
Apparently, with this episode, sorry, let me put my note on here. The original storyline of this episode was different.
I bet it was better.
So, executive producer of the episode, Manicato, originally wanted to use the original series character Colonel Green, who appeared in The Savage Curtain, as the main villain for this story arc. Green would be revealed as having been involved in the original Eugenics wars. When Kato learned that Brent Spiner was available, they decided to kind of go the Soong route instead.
Fuck that guy!
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting that they we can get Brett Spiner to guest star. Yeah, let's do that.
Yes, an entire lineage of one guy who, like, all of their parents and uncles and cousins and shit all look the same.
It's pretty impressive how much they look the same.
I mean, genetic manipulation, am I right?
I suppose.
Oh, shit! Like, I don't know if... Oh, man, okay. I would give Star Trek an immediate 10 out of 10 if the implication, but never spoken thing, was that Soong had been cloning himself generation after generation.
Oh, yeah, that'd be
What
good.
a fucking reveal! Oh, my God! Oh, that would have been amazing!
almost as amazing as T'Pol being played, or as T'Pol's mom and T'Pol's great grandmother all being played by the same.
That would have been funny too. Like, because how many different Soongs has Spiner played? It's got to be at least 4, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you count Data and Lore, there's Data Lore, Dr. Noonien Sung, you have Dr. Eric Sung. He played one in Picard too, didn't he?
Yes, he played the original Soong.
Oh yeah.
So 5 at least. So yeah.
Well, Data and Lore are the same Soong.
I mean, no, they're different androids, but
right. But my point is that like those are modeled after the same biological being. So I'm talking. I mean, like, because like, I'm talking about like it would be really cool if it turned out that Dr. Soong had just been cloning himself over and over again.
Yeah. So where were we? Oh yeah. So back down on the Orion planet, Paul gets shown off by Big Orion Man, who's played by the wrestler, rather easily. Apparently this was done with no wires at all. It's just...
you can tell because of how he's gripping her, like, in the fact, like, you can see her rib cage get compressed a bit as he picks her up. Like, he's definitely picking her weight up. Now, she's not a huge person.
Right,
but
just
like,
a huge, strong man.
Again, like, I feel like this is unintentionally comical, the way that she was just kind of like hanging sort of limp in his arms.
No, I'm fairly sure that was intentionally comical.
I think that was intentionally comical, yes.
Okay.
And because she is a tiny person in this enormous man's arms.
And then, like, so she sells for a bunch, and he's, like, very happy about it. He, like, shakes her, and her head is just, like, bobbling all over the place.
And, man, a fucking Tellarite bought the bejesus out of T'Pol.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So then we get a Orion lady wearing titty tape, going on auction next, of course. Oh wait, no, sorry, I skipped a bit. We just see Archer and Soong come in and see the slaves in the cages.
Archer being really bad at being subtle.
Yep. And then we get the Orion lady being sold. We get some fairly gross commentary about how Orion women's innate appetites and skills. It's like, we didn't need to do this.
Have we not done the retcon thing with like it's actually the Orion women who are in charge of their society yet at this point? Then I guess
no. I'm pretty sure that just happens in Lower Decks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I knew that happened at some point. I did not realize. I thought it happened on Strange New Worlds as well.
I don't remember. Maybe
because they were on that Orion ship.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and those old scientists.
Yeah.
Well, no. When they were on, there was an Orion ship there too. No, they've been on a different Orion ship because they were like captured on one for a while.
I don't remember. Anyway, back on the Klingon ship, Rakim and Persis discuss Malik. She tells him Malik is plotting against Rakim, and proceeds to manipulate Rakim into wanting to kill Malik. By the way, all the acting here is terrible.
This is the moment. This was the moment where I was like, I don't need any of these fucking interludes with these augments. I don't give a shit about these augments at all. Like, they could have just done, even without maybe let the cold open go. But, like, I didn't need any of this. Like we're hunting augments. Let's take Soong, deal with the Orions. That's a fine plot for an episode. I did not need all of this shit with these people. I don't care. Leave this for like when you have an actual plot to show us.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, like I said, any of the scenes with the augments between each other was all just kind of okay.
Yeah, well, Purse lady, what Persis?
Persis.
They named the girl Purse, and I guess like it's named after an actual person, so I can't be mad. But I am a little mad that the only girl with like fucking lines is called Purse. Okay,
Persis. That's different.
She can't act. Rakim can't act. Hakim? Haktua? What is his name? Malik.
Totally off.
Malik is trying to act like Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah.
And he's not doing a good job, but at least he's trying. The other two are not trying at all. Like, these kids are fucking terrible.
Yep.
Was not great.
So, back on the Orion planet, Ensign Coward is auctioned off. He fetches very little.
Ensign Coward. He
Archer,
doesn't even like. No one even wants to buy him, so Archer has to like pity buy him.
Yeah, Archer ends up purchasing him. They get him onto the ship where they remove the little neck thing they got the Orions to leave on through bribery, so they can figure out how to take deactivate the other ones.
Archer's like, phew, thank God this shitty ensign wasn't worth anything. We never would have been able to afford him.
This made things work out wonderfully. Back with the augments, Rakim is double-crossed by Persis. Who could have seen this coming?
This is why I was like, these super intelligent people are so fucking stupid. Like,
so the gun he pulls on Malik doesn't fire. And, Rakim is betrayed by the whole crew because, I guess fuck that guy, apparently. Rakim waits there patiently while Malik stabs him. And immediately dies, by the way. No.
Oh, yeah. You know how, like, in superhuman augment, like, bodies, that there's just an off switch you gotta hit? Like, yeah.
Yeah, like a single gut wound just kills you instantly.
Malik got it, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was like it's a failsafe, right? So you can know where to stab.
Yeah. I want you guys to remember how easily this guy dies for when we watch the original series.
I've seen the Ricardo Montalban, the Khan episode from the original series. They did not fucking die easy.
Nope.
I don't think he plays Khan in the original series.
Ricardo Montalban, yes, he fucking does.
Does he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he reprises the role in the movie. Yeah. I believe, if I recall correctly, the person who wrote the script for the movie was like, I am not doing this without Ricardo Montalban.
So back to the slave planet, we get a hilarious hypospray knockout thing that Sung like injects a guard. He kind of like wobbles there for a minute.
And like, it was funny. It was a little weird on tone, like in the middle of like this relatively serious Star Trek episode, especially after we just come back from like Hakeem getting stabbed to death. But it was like a weird little comedy moment, but it was kind of funny.
Yeah. T'Polsbire comes to collect. Archer and Sung get to some, console where they deactivate the collars, or the neck things, and a prison break starts. She punches the Tellarite guy who bought her, and then Big Show tries to, tase her or whatever, and then all madness breaks loose. All the prisoners are running everywhere. Sung takes the opportunity to tase Archer in the back and make his escape.
It's like, oh no, Spiner's sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Yeah. Bigger Ride, like, choke holds to Paul, who proceeds to just rack him straight to the beans. Like,
yeah. Get him.
Just right in the nutsack.
Yeah, another, like, it's fine, but this was another moment where I was like, that's a weird comedy beat to play here. The kick to the balls, yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, totally. This episode is certainly all over the place.
It is all over the place.
Yeah. Soon, like, tases his own neck to scramble like the signal or whatever. So Enterprise can't locate his biosign and the just jumble of creatures on the ground. Archer gets a high view though and spots Sung and clacks his cuffs together that he's in.
I will, like, this was probably cinematographically, this was like the best bit of the episode, was this chase through like the rioting slave market. This was all very well done. The camera work was good. The choreography was good. Like, because there are like people fighting and stuff around them, and they're like interacting with the scenery in a good way between Archer and Spiner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was actually a pretty well done little sequence.
Yep. So Sung kind of weaves his way through the crowd, and just as he's about to climb out and escape, and he's kind of like hanging on the cuffs to help him climb up, Archer locates him, deactivates the cuff, and he falls down.
So I watched this scene, and like Brent Spiner does an old man leap to grab like the pole with his hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a cutaway to Archer. Then we cut back to Spiner, and then Archer deactivates the cuffs, and Spiner falls. So I was like, oh, were the cuffs, like, did he get the cuffs over the pole to help him up? So no, he was still holding on to them with his hands. I'm not sure what detaching the cuffs actually accomplished other than apparently just working.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Moving on. We get another Archer interrogation scene. He's very mad at Sung, as he is.
Sung respects Captain Archer, and I can't figure out why.
Right.
Yeah. Gonna name his car after him.
Yeah. In sickbay, Trip visits to Paul to see how she is. We get a brief couple lines about how Vulcans don't have honeymoons, yada yada, blah blah blah. I guess they just had to just touch on that plot line for later, I guess. But just then, explosions. Orions have come to recollect their slaves. They say, they've taken their property. Archer's like, but they're my crew.
It's just like, I mean, fair point, but I don't think the Orions are seeing it that way.
Right. They happen to drop straight out of warp, and oh look, it's the Augments and the Klingon ship.
First, unfortunately, like right as the Enterprise was about to fire back, they targeted the Catch Malcolm's console on fire system, so he was unable to shoot the torpedoes.
Yep. So the Augments chase away the Orion ships, and I guess they just let the one guy on the ship just.
Yeah, this is once again one of those times where it's like, y'all know what the Augments are like. Why are you anywhere near him?
Right.
Yeah.
The Malik guy banters a bit with Archer. Meanwhile, Reed and some Mako guy are standing by. We get a con redux where he says I have the 5 times the strength of you or whatever. They says I'm going to attack you, and then haha, I told you, and you were still too slow to do anything.
That was such an anime moment.
It really was. Yeah. It 100% was. So he's like, I'm a terrorist, throw it out.
Which, to be honest, like, it's kind of a failure on the people that were there to guard him, because if a guy says, I'm going to attack you now, they should have immediately shot him. Like, shoot him in the ass right now. Shoot him.
Uh-huh. And I
mean, like, to be fair, they have shot a couple of these Augments at this point, and it doesn't seem to do a whole lot to them.
They hadn't shot them yet.
No,
they
that wasn't happening. They didn't know that yet.
till after the throat grab part. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm not saying it would have worked. I'm just saying that's what they should have done.
So yeah, right after he kind of grabs Archer by the throat and walks him out, the rest of the Augments break in and free Soong quite easily. They get shot a couple times and it's not doing anything. So meanwhile, Malik kind of joins them, throating Archer all the way. Nah, that didn't come out right. Holding him by the throat all the way. Soong tells the Augments to let Enterprise go. Malik kind of seems to disagree a little bit, but does it anyway. This
is stupid. This is all stupid.
Yeah, he says, go learn to speak Klingon, Archer, and then says something about thousands of brothers and sisters waiting to be born. Let's go get them. And the episode ends.
I have an overall question.
Uh-huh.
Like, these Augments show up and take a Klingon ship. The Klingon Empire is like, fuck. They call up the humans on their buddy phone. And they're like, yo, you fucking humans stole our ship. And Starfleet's answer to that was, oh my god, I'm sorry, we'll get them. And not, we don't own those humans. Do whatever the fuck you want with them. They don't belong to us. Because Klingons get it. Like, the Klingons would have been like, thanks, that's all we fucking needed. And they would have said all kinds of shit to probably go die because, the Klingons are stupid and the Augments are not. But my point is that, like, why are we going after these people? Like, why does Starfleet give a shit about these things?
Reasons.
All right. Well, fair enough.
So, yeah. All right. So, on our scale of 1 to 5, where 0 is threshold, where are we at on this one?
I gave it a 3. I agree. I think that the B plot in this week's episode with the Augments was like
dumb,
rough. Yeah, like the acting wasn't great. The characters were kind of bland. I don't know. Brent Spiner, I didn't find him as annoying as Stanford did. Like Stanford, I 100% understand where you're coming from and understand that he could be annoying. I thought that he made a really great bad guy. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. 3 stars.
Stanford.
My issue with Brent Spiner making a good bad guy is because I don't disagree, but it's like no one reacts to him the way people in real life would react to a person who's that comically evil. Like, he's a dick, and no one treats him that way. And it's not just this episode. That's always with Dr. Soong. I was I was tempted to go up to a 3, but I couldn't. I stayed at a 2. It's just I don't care. My biggest complaint is like I get very, and this is not a crime that only Enterprise has committed. It is not a crime that only Star Trek has committed, although they have both committed their entire fucking fair share of it. I get tired of prequels just doing the same shit as the thing they are prequeling again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need more augments. I don't need them. Like, give me a new story. Okay? I've seen the Khan thing at least 3 or 4 times across the fucking shows. I'm good. Okay? Give me something new. And the fact that they always pick the same actor to play the different Dr. Seugs is just like, it's like they're pissing on my face and calling it rain. Like,
well, you know, a lot of people like the callbacks. They like I mean, I understand why you don't, and I think I generally lean the same way as you on that idea. But unfortunately, that is not the case with a lot of Star Trek fans in particular. So this is what we get. Overall, for me, I was at a 3. I think I agree with Rob. His character didn't annoy me as much. I generally enjoyed it. It wasn't anything amazing. The B plot was dumb, but it wasn't bad enough to put it down to a 2 for me. So it was a 3.
IMDb gave it a 4.
Yeah, that's not surprising. It had Brett Spiner in it.
Yep.
All right. Well, when we come back, we will get into our deep dive for the episode. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so for this deep dive, I kind of wanted to touch on kind of the waving away of the eugenics wars that Star Trek does over and over again. They mention it a whole lot, but no, there's no continuity whatsoever. I actually kind of mentioned it earlier where we kind of talked about how the original plot had more to do with eugenic wars, and we might get a little bit more backstory, but, you know, fuck that never happened. So this goes back all the way to TOS, of course. Gene Roddenberry and the original writers were kind of infamous that they did not care about continuity whatsoever. Like they had no thought process as that they might have to keep storylines a little bit more continuity-wise. This has come up in a number of things, of course, the Eugenics Wars, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about. But, you know, from how the Klingons look, they improved the Klingon makeup between the original series and the first movie. And they just never say anything about it.
I mean, a fair amount of that's like culture of TV in the 60s.
Sure. Fair. However, it's replete throughout the entire series. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest, of course, is the Eugenics Wars, which was a conflict on Earth between genetically engineered rulers that almost resulted in the extinction of the planet. It resulted in the Federation banning genetic augmentation, which was a major narrative point in a number of storylines, from Dr. Bashir and DS9 to some of the more recent ones with you know, Number 1 and Strange New Worlds. What?
Remember earlier when I was complaining about how they just keep doing the same thing over and over again? So Space Seed, which was one of the most important original series episodes, of course you have with Khan and all that. The Enterprise picks up the ancient Earth vessel containing Khan Union Singh and his group of augments in suspended animation, which of course sets up the conflict in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Khan is, of course, a fun character, and that episode in particular goes into a great amount of detail about his past as a global warlord before fleeing the planet into spacecraft. Where was my note? So the Eugenics Wars, which were triggered by Khan apparently and other augments, is specified to take place in the 1990s. Spock actually says it. The mid-1990s was the era of your last so-called war. Yeah, remember that the eugenics war we had in the 90s when we were like teenagers and stuff? Yeah.
So Star Trek itself has on multiple occasions, including a trip back to contemporary LA in season 2 of Star Trek Picard, where there was no sign or mention of the wars. Strange New Worlds doesn't mention the exact date of the war, but the conclusion...
Voyager went back to Earth in like 1996 as well.
Also
yeah.
true. Strange New Worlds doesn't mention the exact day of the war, while the conclusion of Picard Season 2 suggests that Khan has not yet been created as of 2024, because there's that section of time that takes place during then. So, yeah, they talk about it a lot throughout all of Star Trek because of your much maligned doing the same thing over and over again. They never give any consistent details whatsoever for it. They're just like, yeah, that's this thing that happened because Khan. And yeah. And I don't know if they'll ever actually do like retcon it to actually have taken place at a certain period of time, but
do we know any specifics on like what happened?
No, we don't. We never get any specifics.
Because I guess because like my question is always like, okay, so like a handful of super assholes can take over entire starships because they're so amazingly incredible at what they do. How did we win the war?
Yes.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah, it's just that's kind of the point of my little section here, is that it's referenced over and over again throughout the series, and none of it is consistent from series to series as to what happened, when it happened, or gives any details about how it started, how it ended, who was affected. But it's just kind of this boogeyman they keep in the past,
right,
just to justify their storylines for the various characters throughout the show.
Because Khan is so smart that he was literally asleep for 200 years, is woken up on a starship, handed a technical manual for it, and then can hack a computer system on it 2 hours later.
Yep.
And like, the realisticness of someone being that smart, it doesn't matter. Well, my point is that, like, how did he lose? How did he lose the war?
I think it was a numbers thing.
I mean, right, I guess that's the thought. But, yeah, as I said, I don't know that we'll ever get an actual...
The other funny thing here is we're going to dive into some trivia about Augment's Potpourri section. But,
well, we don't have to get too specific.
Like, one of the things that I've seen mentioned was he was not the only leader of Augments. It seems like there were a number of factions that popped up. He happened to be like one of the more powerful ones, and the one that was like most famous from the period. But they were also fighting each other. It wasn't just the non-augments fighting the augments. Like, it was augments fighting non-augments.
Yeah, so fun stuff.
Yeah, and having watched the current American political landscape, I'm pretty sure there'd be plenty of non-augments that were following Khan as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, like I said, short one for this deep dive, and probably shouldn't discuss it too much more before we get into your trivia section here. So, with that, we'll wrap this up, and after the break, we'll come back with some Potpourri.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So, yeah, we're going to dive into some Augment trivia for Potpourri this week.
Woo!
I think, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 10. There are 10. Why don't we go back and forth, and we'll allow for steals. How's that sound?
Okie dokie.
Okay. We'll start with you, Stanford, since Chris seems to have done a lot of research on the topic. Stanford, what famous conflict was fought on Earth as a result of Augment seizing control of a number of Earth nations?
Is it the Eugenics Wars?
It is the Eugenics Wars.
I'm good at this game. God damn. Thank you for
Chris,
doing a short deep dive, because it's just the length of my attention span that happened there.
Chris, what year did the eugenics war start?
There's no right answer here.
According to Alpha, there is.
No, it's discussed in several different areas. This is just part of my deep dive. Were you not listening?
I was listening, and that's why I was confused.
Yeah, it's like Spock says it was the mid 1990s, but also like maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
I would say go by what Spock says.
Sure, mid 1990s.
1992?
I feel like I should get credit for this.
No, yeah, you can have
We'll
that.
give you credit. Yeah.
Those were the two freebies.
Yeah.
Stanford.
Yeah.
Who was the last Augment despot to be overthrown?
God, I hope it's Khan Noonien Singh.
It is Khan
Oh,
Noonien
thank
Singh.
God. This is the only one I could name.
I was gonna say, I don't think it names any other ones, does it?
No. Chris, what future TOS Klingon quirk is explained by the Klingons attempting to make their own augments out of fear of the human variety?
Oh, the shift in makeup from the TOS Klingons to the New Age ones.
Yep. Yeah. Do you know why? Like the explanation they were given?
Like in the series?
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what it was. It was like they talk about it in DS9, I'm pretty sure, but I don't remember.
So like you get the point. But they the genes that were manipulated supposedly like spawned some sort of like
Disease or something like that spread to all the Klingons, right?
Yeah, it caused a plague, and anyone who had that genetic manipulation done to them also passed that manipulation on to their kids. So pretty much everybody lost their cranial ridges for like generations. That was the explanation they were given.
Interesting.
Stanford.
That's a dumb explanation.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the name of the sleeper ship that Kirk finds Khan and his augments aboard?
The Botany Bay.
That's it, yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. I can hear Chekhov saying that in my sleep, man. Botany Bay. That's
Chris.
probably the movie I've seen the most out of all of the movies.
Yeah. What planet were Khan and his followers exiled to by the crew of the Enterprise?
Oh shit.
It starts with "this is."
What? Oh, Sparta? I mean, I don't know.
SETI Alpha 5.
Oh shit! Oh, I don't get to steal it then? Is that how this is gonna work?
Go for the steal.
This is SETI Alpha 5. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm aware.
It's been too long since I've seen that movie, man.
God, it's such a good movie.
Stanford. What is the name of the Miranda class best class starship that Khan commandeers in the Wrath of Khan?
The Reliant.
That's correct. Chris. Not only was genetic manipulation banned on Earth, in 2259 it was also banned by Starfleet. What senior officer dodged the ban only to be caught and tried for it later?
It's number 1 from
Can you
Stranger
give me a
Worlds.
name?
Oh fuck, what's her name?
Take
Her name is literally one.
That's right. Una, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Una.
Yeah.
Stanford. What famous Star Trek doctor was found to be genetically enhanced?
Bashir.
Bashir, yep.
That whole fucking storyline. I was like, this is dumb. This is so dumb.
So angry.
Well, and it wasn't even just Bashir. It was also the pack of we're gonna make fun of autistic people that came with him. It was so fucking stupid.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Yeah, the 90s was a terrible time to be on television.
Chris. I don't know if you're going to know this. I think I originally intended this for Stanford, but that's okay. What Prodigy ensign was also an augment hybrid?
Oh, Jesus. I have only watched the first season of that show. God damn.
I'll give you a hint, Chris. He looks fucking wild.
He does.
Oh, gosh. No, I don't know.
I genuinely don't remember his name, but it's the main purple dude. The main character. I forget his name.
It is.
He's got a genetic rat tail.
Yeah, I'm not going to give it to you because you didn't give me a name, and also you're beating Chris already. So.
Oh yeah, no. Apparently, this is the trivia I have.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
bag.
Yeah, you did.
See, and that's the thing. You got to do trivia about shit I'm angry about because I know all about it because it makes me angry.
By a score of 6-3, Stanford wins.
Just wait till we get to some Borg trivia. I'll kick your ass.
Wait, what was his name? I don't think you said his name.
Oh, Dalrell. Sorry.
Dal.
Yep. I don't even, you say those words and I don't even remember that being his name. Like I remember the character, but
yeah, it's the purple guy. Stanford's right. All right.
Yeah, there's like a whole thing where they're like, we don't know what species you are. It's because he's like, oh.
I remember that now that you mention it. Like I remember it, the augmented portion of it now that you identified him as the character you're talking about. But like, yeah. I watched one season of that show like several years ago. So.
Yeah. Second season's good. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, apparently there's a whole thing with them like trying to activate his augment like superpowers. It's a thing.
That was pretty funny actually.
Anyway, yeah.
We're in the mirror universe where even the whales are evil. Oh, what a great show.
The new season started too.
No,
I'm sorry, of Lower Decks. I just
Lower Decks. That. Oh, did it just start? Oh, I gotta start watching that.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for hanging out with us for another week of Captain's Log Supplemental. As Chris mentioned at the top of the pod, please like, subscribe, share us with your friends. Helps get the word out, and we appreciate it. Have a nice week, everybody.
Bye. Chris, you all right?
You forgot.
Thanks for listening to Captain's Log Supplemental. You can follow us on Twitter at PodCLS or send us hate mail at podcls3@gmail.com.